He's protesting hella hard in New York too.
He's what?
He's like super active in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Politically. This is a longer intro. The song is fire though. Listen to that shit. It's okay. Boom. We're here, round two.
Round two.
We got Gaby back in here. So let me preface it by saying we want to have real stories represented. Gaby tells my story quite often. I want to create space for her to be free, and let's talk about we have this limbo that she and I both live in. It's interesting to talk about, some people get into that, but I want to create space for you to be free, my friend, and share your experience and what's going on with you. Your story is dope, so be free.
Be free. Well, here I am. My name is Gaby Contreras. I don't even know where to begin. It's like you can prepare.
I would say qualify first.
Qualify, yeah.
Short,
quick, sweet.
Yeah, qualify, and then we can get into the stuff that you want to talk about, because this isn't time for important conversations.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's, like I said, I'm Gaby Contreras, and I'm a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. And it doesn't feel weird saying that anymore, just like, yeah, that's the facts. So for me, I mean, it was crazy. It was wild. I knew from the jump that I was different. I knew, especially once I started partying and stuff, like my friends liked it and they enjoyed it. But I was like, no, like, I love this, and I could tell right away, like they were having fun and enjoying themselves and like enjoying the moment. And I was like, more. Like, I don't want this to end. Like, I'm at that point that everyone else is at where we're like good and like can chill, but I'm like, this is going to fade away and I need to go up again. This is not going to end. What can I do to keep this going all night, the next day, and the day after that? So I completely made my world around drinking and using and quit everything I love. Like, I was an athlete my entire life. The second I started partying, literally months later, I was like, this is getting in the way. The thing I love the most, more than anything, I gave up, right? At that time. And it just like progressed. And I thought, it was normal. It was fine. Knew that like I have alcoholism on both sides of my family, but I'm better than that, like I'm stronger than that. I've been through enough that I can like get over this next phase of my life. And I just justified everything I did. I was like, well, my family members partied hard and everybody parties hard. But like the difference, once again, between them and me is like, I needed it. At the end of the day, I was like, I need this to feel good. I need this to feel confident. I can't walk into a room and have conversation with people unless I'm on something. So, I went to treatment when I was 17 years old. And got worse because like when you're a kid around other kids, forced into treatment, it's not like, guys, we should do this, we should get better. It's, here's all the things I've done and I like it a lot and it was fun. And you're like, oh, well, I haven't done that, but I'm gonna, kill me. And that's just how the story goes. And, got sober for a little bit. I was young. It was weird because I was like just in high school and now I'm still in high school, but also sober. And hanging out with like, I'm 17 years old, hanging out with like 30-year-olds, And I was like, what is this? Kind of weird, but also we understand each other and like you guys speak my language, and you understand like why I drink and use the way that I do. So got the things back. And then there's a short, it's funny too, because like I was secretly smoking weed every now and again.
So that seed, that idea, it's a virus that grows and it spreads.
It does. And like, but some people found out and my ex's brother at the time texted me and was like, I know the truth. Like, you need to tell your boyfriend, like, da-da-da-da. And I was like, what a weasel, but okay.
Snitch ass.
Seriously, I was like, chill, dude, it's weed, but I understand. And it was so horrible. So I told him, he flipped out. He lost his shit. And I remember telling my mom, and she was like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's just weed. And in that moment, in that instant, I was like, run it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're okay with this now?
Yeah.
Good to know. And I worked for months and kind of like planting the seed in all my family members' heads in different ways that I know that like they would understand. So I could eventually make my way out, And it was like this conflict. I felt like I was in purgatory because like part of me wanted to stay because I knew that there was something wrong. Another part was like, I really don't care, because I like to get loaded and I want to get loaded forever. And that's what I did. And it just sucked. Like I'm literally the girl that passes out in a trash bag, or you put me in a trash bag because it's easier of a mess, because I'm just like vomiting everywhere. I get sick.
You ever shit your pants?
Sober, actually.
Oh, there you go.
I have shit my pants sober.
Yeah. For you.
I had a horrible stomach ache, and it was at a red light, and it was horrible. My mom had to hose me off.
Oh no,
it was bad.
Was it like a full shit or just a little bit?
Oh no, it was 100%. My mom had to hose me off.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, good for you.
Yeah.
You're not the first woman on here to say they shit themselves. So.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad. Okay. And I actually was getting dinner with my boyfriend at the time's family, and I didn't have time to shower, and I was too embarrassed to tell him. So it was disgusting. My hygiene is a lot better now. But yeah, my mom hosed me off, and he was like, we got to go. And I was like, okay, just shit my pants in my car. You have to drive, and you can't take my car.
So funny.
It was disgusting. It was bad. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with anything. Sorry. But like, no, you're fine. But there was one moment in particular where like because I'm a blackout drinker, and to me it's like there's no point, you know what I mean? Like I want to not black out, but the second I get a sip in me, the second I can feel it, like my favorite part about drinking was the moment I got the drink, right when I took it, like this moment right here where I was like, I know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel better. I'm not going to have to think and be insecure and not care what you think or like what's going on in my life or what I need to work on and fix. Like that was my favorite moment. Oops.
It's okay.
So yeah. There was one time when I was living in Portland, I vividly remember standing in my apartment with my friend, and I like looked up at her and I was like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
And she was like, I can't either. And I was like, why can't we stop? And she was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
And like at this point, I'd always been, even though I was a mess, like the one that tried to like mommy everybody and take care of everything. So like, because it made me feel better. And I realized at this point, I was like, I can't try to continue to help you, because she had some stuff going on. And I can't continue to try and take care of you because like, I can't even take care of myself, and all I want to do is more drugs and drink, So like, I'm sorry, but I can't do what you need me to do or want me to do for you anymore, because like, I don't care, actually. I just want to drink and do drugs and like party,
Yeah.
So, it's different. So, always knew that there was something different, and, didn't have a contact with God or anything spiritual until a few days before I got sober this time, and I finally hit my knees and I'm like sobbing in my apartment, just like, do whatever you have to do, because like I'm gonna either kill myself, overdose, or some horrible thing's gonna happen.
So when we tell stories, our stories are such so drastic,
right?
We are. Sorry. We are our experience is exceptional in the sense it's like acutely,
dark,
devastating and dark, but desperation is a human experience.
Oh, man.
Working a job that's making you miserable, in a marriage that's failing, or with you can't control your kids and you're just at the point. So when I have people share these stories, I want to let people know that your story is special, because to grow from that darkness, that extreme darkness, you
Right.
can leave your job. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
leave that relationship, no matter how aggressive it is or like abusive it is or anything.
Yeah.
You can do that. It's just, it takes a lot of humility.
Oh, absolutely.
What was it about? What humbled you at that time that made it stick? Because in some literature it talks about a very specific humiliation that we feel.
I couldn't look in the mirror.
Oh, that's the darkness. I've been that way sober.
Yeah, right.
I've been that way sober, and I've changed my life.
Yeah,
because like when you can't look at yourself in the mirror, you're like,
yeah,
that's a deep one.
It's a deep one, and it didn't matter how much makeup I put on, what I was wearing, what wig I was in, anything like that. Like, I still couldn't look in the mirror, and that sucked. That was really horrible and excruciating. Because I love looking in the mirror. I love taking selfies. You know what I mean? And I couldn't. And it was awful. And I was like, why do I have so many fucking mirrors in my apartment?
Yeah.
And like, I constantly am seeing my reflection. There was another time too that my grandma, I went over to her house and I looked like hell, obviously. Like, could barely shower. No brushing of the hair. No, not even trying anymore. And she like grabbed her phone and started taking pictures of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did she show you those pictures after you got sober?
No, she hasn't.
My mom took pictures of me, and she would say, "Look," I was like, "No, I'm not looking at."
I'm like,
why would you even do that?
Right. I'm good. My uncle took a video of me. One of my uncles took a video of me in the hospital, and I'm like seizing, and like my eyes are fluttering, and I'm like not there. Yeah. And he still has it. I was like, send that to me because I do want to see that. But yeah, he was like, it was scary, because like we didn't know. And I was thinking about that I was in the shower yesterday actually, and I was thinking, and I was like, it's so funny because I think that my love is enough to make someone well.
No.
And it's not,
In earlier years that you think you try all those things.
Yeah.
You try everything and you're supposed to. Especially getting sober in your 20s. It's
right.
Maybe you're not going to try as hard as I did because I tried hard, but I think it's a normal process for any sober person and any person in their 20s to just seek. And hopefully you realize soon that the seeking doesn't work, I think our generation realizes that we choose like kind of a love and like passion over corporatism and things like that, but
absolutely.
People spend their whole lives seeking and they die seeking.
Yeah.
And in your 20s as a sober person, it's like you're reaching on to all those things until you become emotionally healthy and you're like, none of this stuff is going to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
That guy's not going to do it. That girl's not going to do it. My job's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, so there's an interesting experience that you and I have, especially here in San Diego, but it's more than just in San Diego. If you do Zoom calls, if you do Zoom meetings around the country, Black people are disproportionately underrepresented.
Absolutely.
In recovery communities. I want you to share a little bit of your experience there, and we'll just chat on that.
Okay, yeah. So I want to talk about a few things. So like my experience and also the things I've read, and whatever. So for me, I noticed it immediately. You know what I mean? Like when I first went to treatment, I was the only Black girl there.
Me too.
When I started going to AA meetings, there would be times where I was the only Black person there. And it's funny because when there's another person of color, you notice it. You're like,
hi.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
The manager of my sober living, he said, Eric, you and me and this guy Darren are the only three here. He said they're expecting you to fail.
Absolutely.
He's like, that's part of the reason I'm sober today. I said, I'm not going to give motherfuckers the satisfaction ever. But he told me, he was like, we're the three here in this whole city. He's like, we're it. But continue share.
And that's crazy. And what I started to learn, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything being talked about, at least a little more, is that people don't realize I'm Black, So I want to stop saying,
it's okay.
So much on this podcast.
It's all right. It's all right.
Anyway, so you know? People don't realize I'm Black. Even Black people don't realize I'm Black. Like, it blows my mind because people think that they can get away with things around me because either I'm not that Black or just
You're
Black
not
enough.
that kind of Black.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of Black.
So, yeah.
Or they don't even realize. So they think it's okay to say the N-word or something extremely racist. And I'm sitting there like,
lame.
Say it again, you know? It's horrible.
So I talked about yesterday on a podcast as well. Even Black people do it to ourselves. Yeah. We do it within our own community. Mm-hmm. We're quick to say you're not Black enough or make fun of you and say you're like, I don't meet these qualifications. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it starts there. And when I talk about healing, I've been speaking about that. Like what we all kind of need from this is healing. That takes self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And white people and Black people, we need to heal our hearts. Yeah. Doing those things to each other. White people, that's part of the white supremacy thinking that like you can designate who's Black and who's like someone else. We have to validate our own experience. Yeah.
Well, it's like inside slaves, outside slaves.
Exactly. And it's just a recreation of that thing. And Black people, we have adopted that. A lot of us have adopted that where I grew up not accepted by Black people, and I knew I never was going to be white, and I got chased out of white neighborhoods just trying to make friends and said, no niggers here. And like I dealt with absurdly racist things in 2006. This isn't 1985. Right. In 2006, I was dealing with that stuff, all because I didn't have a resting place. Yeah. And in a perfect world, I like to believe like we're all fuck. And I would cry to my mom. I swear to God, I would say, "Mom, it's different. Like you don't understand. These are my friends." And she'd be like, "Eric, they're gonna show you. They're gonna tell you." And they did. And now looking back, I got sober around the same age you are, and I realized everything that I allowed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially when you look at all the different compartments of it too, like within relationships, or friendships, the workplace setting, anything. Passerbyers. It's disgusting. Yeah. And I have the same experience where it's like too Black for the white people, too white for the Black people, Mexican, but don't know Spanish. You know what I mean? So it's uncomfortable. And I've actually seen quite a few posts on Facebook and Instagram lately where people are trying to just like diminish the biracial voice.
Yeah. See, and that goes directly. That's we need healing in that regard. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm from this school of thought. I said this shit on another podcast yesterday. Asian people, Donald Trump will say the Chinese virus. And then I saw a video of this woman saying, go back to where you're from, China man. That was 2 days ago. Middle Eastern people after 9/11, including Sikh people who are not even Middle Eastern, they say you're a terrorist. Latino people, there's Latinos in cages right now, not far from where we live. Right. And then obviously the LGBT community, people are still getting hate crimes. The Jewish community, alt-right and white nationalists speak openly and have Nazi flags. So we're all getting it, but then we all do it to Black people. And we've there's this pot of hate but except we're not like congealing. We're not like forming together. Right. And even within the Black community, we're not forming together. And the fact of the matter is, and this is fucking controversial, we're never gonna get it together. Yeah. It's never gonna happen if that doesn't happen. And that's where the healing comes. And all I can do is heal myself and like forgive myself and then forgive, because when I did a 4-step, I had Black people on there. And I had white people on there. Me too. And like I was damaged by both communities. Yeah. And it's never going to come together unless we're all in it. Absolutely. Not only all Black people, but all the other races. And to them, they all deal with their own racism, but they say, at least I'm not Black. Yeah. Oh, are we talking about that shit? Right. Are we saying that out loud? You ready for that? Yeah. No, but it's true. Yeah. Because it's 100% true. And I have the same experience where, especially being Black and like struggling with addiction, because so where do we even begin with this? Obviously description does not discriminate. The one thing that doesn't discriminate is addiction, mental health. And I except in the Black community, it's like how I've processed this is like the Black community is not getting any help from anybody else. So, and especially if you're someone who
has sold drugs to try and make a living, you're not going to want to tell on yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail. Your kids are going to get taken away from you,
Yeah.
you know, and not like a white person who can.
Oh, they have the resources to give their kids to another family member.
Yeah.
There's resources there. That issue is layered. First of all, we do drugs at the same rate as white people.
Yeah.
Same exact rate. It's white. Actually, white people is 24% as of 2013. We're 20%, and I think there's been a boom since the opiate epidemic.
Oh, 100%.
So we're doing drugs the same rate, but it goes. We've been inherently criminalized for our entire existence here, on purpose for industrial, the prison industrial complex, slave labor in prisons. So we've been taught that we have this level of criminality and drug abuse, which has been deliberate. And if you watch 13th, it's very deliberate.
Yeah, it is.
But to then try to recover in a Black community, you have to work multiple jobs. So maybe you're the sole. Maybe if you're the single mom, because the husband has been incarcerated from the 80s or the 90s, you're a single mom. Now, if you're struggling with addiction, who's going to raise your children? They may go into foster care. That perpetuates the cycle. Or you may not have the family structure. Why is the family structure, demolished? Because of X, Y, and Z, all the social structures.
Right.
And then on top of that, I'm reading this book called Medical Apartheid. African-American people have an inherent fear of the doctor because we were experimented on for a number of years, not that long ago, not that long ago. So there's all these components that play a part, and that's where the healing comes in. Because truth and reconciliation, I'm saying that right now on a microphone, that is a fucking thing. That's the thing, and it all plays into why we are not represented. And then in our own culture, it's weakness to say that you deal with that, and we judge our own for doing that. It's deep, man.
It's super deep, and all of those things have a part to play. I'm like stuttering over myself because I'm getting nervous, and like this is also important. Like I've been reading about this, I've been studying about this because I have been blind to things. You know, my experience has been different, and the more I've read and the more I've researched, it just blows my mind. And I'm just like, how have I not thought about that? How have I not
Because you just woke up.
Because I just woke up. Yeah, exactly. All of those things have a part to play 100%. And the rate that Black people finish treatment or Black and Indigenous people of color finish treatment is like severely cut in half because of all of those things, childcare,
just support
in general. And also like specialized treatment plans. This isn't a one size fits all, you know? You have racial trauma you have to deal with. Sure. So if you're going to go into a treatment center and you're the only Black person there and you don't have a plan.
Do you know how many therapists I brought up racial shit to and they said, that must have been hard for you.
Yeah,
that's all. I've just gotten a Black therapist recently. Yeah. You know, but all through treatment, I was like, I'm the only Black person. And like, I'm sure that's really hard for you. Like, that's all they can say. That's all they can validate it and affirm it. Like, but that's it. And so the system is not set up for us. And you know where you see all the Black and brown people, and I've used to do H&Is in county facilities and state-run facilities, which if you want to get sober in a state-run facility, you're going to wait.
Yeah. You're going to die.
6 months, a year. Yeah. And when someone needs to get sober, they need to be in treatment that day.
Right now.
They need to be in detox today.
If a heroin addict calls you and is like, I want to get sober. You're like, you better
get him some drugs, keep him high so he doesn't change his mind. Get him in
the car. Yeah, like we're going now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a week, not a month. Back in Arizona, there's only like 2 or 3 county funded detoxes, and
they're underfunded, and that's where we talk about defunding the police. We're not talking, and people really trip on this. This is a hard thing.
They don't
for people
know.
To understand.
They haven't taken the time.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. It's not that virtue signaling, but it's like it's a buzzword, like defund the police. I don't think even people who are using it, positively really understand. But stop. It's redistribute certain funds that go to police departments to public health services.
Yes.
Instead of criminalizing addiction, treat it as a public health service, which they did in Portugal fucking 20 years ago. I remember talking about that, like that experiment that they did culturally. It might be 15 years ago. But they said, we're not going to incarcerate drug addicts anymore.
Right.
We're going to provide like healthy drugs if they, so they won't die. And we're going to treat them as if they have cancer.
Yeah.
And their drug addiction problem, which crime, if defunding the police happens in Minneapolis, it's going to spike. It's going to. And people are going to say, I fucking told you.
Right.
But I've been saying this on the podcast. All these changes are long game changes.
Right.
Generational changes.
Right.
But, I can rant about it. But like issues in the Black community, they're generational changes as well. They're like, why can't you guys do better in 5 years? Because the reason I live a life that I live and we have parents who we see work hard.
Yeah.
And we have your uncle, you have people in your life who you're like, oh, like this is what I can be doing. So we for generations see that.
And it's expected of us.
Exactly.
Like
if we don't do it, people are like, what you fucked it up.
What's wrong with you?
That's why I say, even me as a Black man, I'm privileged in that regard.
Yeah.
There's people who have never seen that.
Yeah.
So we have, it's going to change. The education system has to change. And then the kids who are in kindergarten now, they'll raise children.
Yeah.
Who, it's a long game.
The fact that there are police officers on some elementary school campuses and not nurses, not therapists.
Not counselors.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's inherently broken. And that's where people are speaking about it. And it's inherently broken on purpose.
Yeah.
It's not an accident. And when people talk about white privilege and they just don't get it, all you can tell people is, hey, believe what the fuck I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, why you gotta argue it? Because that's interesting in itself. Like, why does anybody fucking argue that shit?
Honestly.
Okay, so what changes do you want to see in here and say, how can we
I want the stigma to be broken, first of all, on all levels of addiction, mental health, and recovery, because in a general setting for everybody of every race, it's like, oh, drug addict, like alcoholic, like, get on.
Yeah, you're dismissed.
You're dismissed. So that needs to be squashed. It's getting a little bit better because we all know somebody.
Everybody knows someone.
Right.
Everyone. We're 10% of the population. So
only 10.
Yeah. Well, those are those of us who like. That's who they calculate. Who they're like. But so what else? Tell me what else do you like?
Especially within the Black community, because I've had people tell me I can't go to treatment. That's a white people thing. White people do that. There's no resources. There's no ways to implement, get you the childcare, help you, fund you, X, Y, and Z. So if you can't get into treatment or detox, at least the rooms, at least the program.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. Yeah, just show up.
I tell people who I invite, I say, come high.
Yeah.
I said, go to AA drunk and go every day drunk.
Yeah.
And don't say anything. You could just announce your name and sit quiet, and I promise you'll stop drinking.
Yeah.
If
you'll hear something.
Eventually you'll hear it, and you're going to be like, I want to do what these people are doing. Are they really happy? I really think if you just go every day, it'll click for you. We do have to normalize. That's why on this podcast, I was like, let me get, because they hear me talk about addiction and stuff, and they hear exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
But like, everybody I know is sober and fucking miracle.
Right.
Everyone I know is like has transformed, and they're not only like, oh, they're kind of doing well. They're exceptional people. So we need these voices out loud, because even I judge homeless people in Southeast San Diego. Even I start looking crazy. So if I'm doing it and that's my person, I've seen people at the Needle Exchange that I've seen in meetings days before. And even still I judge. So if I'm doing that, when I know these people, I know other people who are normal are doing the same thing, if 100%. Not thinking worse. So it is important to get on microphones and share the story, because you and I, people would never know.
They would never know. And I had a friend tell me, I walked, this is before we became friends, initial meeting. I was walking up to a meeting and he was like, you're going to the meeting? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you don't look like you'd be a drug addict. And I get this constantly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, neither do you.
Yeah.
And may he rest in peace, because he died a couple months after that,
Yeah, man. Yeah, all of my friends, and it's interesting because every parent does, and I know your parents did this for you. Every parent tries to get their kid out of the neighborhood that they're in, and I'm going to send them to the good school. And I did all of my drug use with middle class, the neighborhood I grew up in, which was, I've lost 20 friends personally. My neighborhood was hit super, super hard.
Yeah.
And middle class white people. We were not we were all doing good. Parents were doing good, but addiction is not. So it's not socioeconomic.
No,
I think it's cultural. I think it's cultural in this American culture, to the need to be outside of yourself, because we're overworked. Our parents are overworked, and we're not chasing our dreams. We're chasing somebody else's dreams. We're
we're just
cogs in a
perpetuating that
wheel.
cycle. Yeah, absolutely. Trying to live up to these unrealistic societal standards and what it looks like people are doing on the internet and comparing our lives to a 15-second video of someone that looks like they're having so fun. I have been in so many situations where people are sitting there miserable or just on their phones, take out their phone, somehow the party gets started for 15 seconds, goes back.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what you're trying to chase.
Loneliness. And that's the thing with social media, because it seems like you would think it connects people more, but it's unprecedented to connect through a phone. Yeah. Interpersonal connection. I call people, and it's weird for some people. I'm like,
let me know if I have a nip slip.
No, you're good. I call people and I like want to hear people's voices because we were not meant to communicate and like get to know each other via this phone. And it gives the illusion of connectedness. Yeah. When we're really more isolated than we've ever been.
Yeah. I go through periods where things will be great on Instagram. You know what I mean? Interacting with a lot of people, seeing a lot of new things, this, that, the other. And I'm longing just to like lay next to someone. Yeah. Longing just to like be in a room
Slide
full
in her
of people.
DM. She's going to send every weird picture. So
I've been getting some crazy pictures lately. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, slide in my DMs. They're open.
I'm just going to blow your DMs up. No, but it's the illusion of connectedness, you know? And I think people are, the literature we talk about, it talks about filling holes. But you don't only see it in drug addiction. Obesity rates are rising at an aggressive rate. 50% of the population projected to be clinically obese. Half of our population. And heart disease is already the number one killer. How many of us are going, how is that going to increase? So we're running away from ourselves. And our industry, the wellness industry that you and I both, navigate, is growing to an exponential rate as well. Absolutely. So it's a very interesting thing that's happening. But we got to say that shit out loud.
Yeah, we do.
Look at this shit over here. You know what I mean? Because people are not doing it. They're not being honest about it.
No. That's why I try to be so honest on my Instagram as well, because with my experience with health and wellness, it's like things have not been pretty and cute, Yeah. And I hate the illusion that I see a lot of influencers do where it's like, everything's great and I have this banging body and like...
those girls here in San Diego. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, those influencers who are super shredded and super fit, they pinch their stomach just as much, if not more than you do. Yeah. But their response is to go to the gym and
they see the same thing that you see in the mirror.
Exactly. And they diet hella hard. And it's a little bit maladaptive, just like your behavior's maladaptive, like eating it and that cycle. Right. So we're all doing it.
We're all doing it. Yeah, for real. And it's sad. It sucks.
And we're not saying that. Like in the industry, we're not saying that. And
people throw so much hate too, where it's like, I'll have conversations. And I understand. I get it. I'll have conversations with people who are a little bit bigger than I am. And they look at me and they're like, fuck you. Yeah. Fuck you, and I don't feel comfortable talking about my insecurities and my problems, Yeah. So it's hard because there's times where I'm like, dude, once again, I looked in the mirror today and I saw my body and I wanted to fucking vomit. Yeah. It's just
but it does that. And it's slippery. And that's what I coach people through when I am speaking to them, because we start having conversations with ourselves that sometimes I do. I judge myself, but I also don't give a fuck at the same time. Like, I'm thick right now, and that's fine. I look fine, know. Jai, we hear you in there, brother. It's I'm not immune to it either. We're all doing it.
And your body fluctuates.
It does.
And also, I choose if I'm gonna be right now. I'm like extremely skinny. I've lost 10 pounds in quarantine.
Oh wow.
Yeah, horrible. Stress. Like normally when I'm middle to, medium stressed. I can't form words today. When I'm medium stressed, I will overeat and I'll binge eat. But when I'm high stress, I don't eat at all. I can't. So I've lost a lot of weight. But like my body fluctuates. And if that means I'm going to be a little softer and fluffier, because I enjoy going out, you know, and I don't want to be so meticulous and obsessive over my diet. I want to enjoy those things. I love going to 7-Eleven at midnight.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I had a donut from 7-Eleven before my workout.
So
today.
good.
Dude, that's what I do. I say right now, as long as I train 4 days a week and my body wants to be fit. When you train, your body wants to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's when you're atrophied. It's when you're not doing anything that your body's like, oh, we're going to lean into this fat shit. You know what I mean? We're going to like ride this fat shit out. But when you're training, you have a lot more wiggle room. Just move your body. Just move your body. And you can eat the things you want.
Yeah.
And you know, like my clients will go on vacation. They'll be like, what should I eat? Bitch, you know. You know exactly what not to eat. Like everybody,
right? Like, so
everybody
could I eat
knows.
this box?
Like you're gonna eat that whole pizza, you know. You don't need me to tell you.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking knows. You know, and we have to just have that conversation with ourselves. And that's why as a coach, that's the conversation I'm having. Like if you're overeating or like, you know, I have clients who are trying to stop drinking as well. Okay, like you're supposed to not be drinking. You're not alcoholics, but like, why are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Or you have your plan. Why are you not following it? Let's talk about why.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like
let's
put
take
my
steps back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put my foot on your neck. Like, let's just talk about why
shame
you're not.
you. Yeah, that's the thing that's wrong.
Yeah.
I've had so many, especially growing up, so many coaches that would shame you for things, and then you're like, and I'm gonna keep doing it, you know, for some odd reason, because now I can't stop, because now I feel bad and I feel guilty and I'm a piece of shit and like all these things. Da 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 da. Now I don't feel comfortable talking about it, and I'm just gonna suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of shame-based coaching. There is a lot because there's structures where shame-based coaching is like in football. Shame-based coaching is huge, and in a lot of high school sports. But with adults, like people in their 20s might deal with that too, because they're very influenced by that, like societal pressures and social pressures. So I know a lot of coaches who like will just publicly on like not tag their client, but like rant about their clients on social media. And that works for certain people. But the like adults who emotionally healthy people, they're gonna just resent you, and they're gonna resent their bodies.
Yeah.
They'll take the resentment from you and they'll turn it on themselves. And now we're perpetuating a problem.
Yeah.
Now I just did more damage than good. So instead of being like, why the fuck? It's like, okay, let's walk. Let me hear you talk through it.
Yeah.
You explain it to me, and then we'll challenge some stuff.
And address those things.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you did so good. Look how good this was. We're not gonna like force. Yeah, this is so easy. Well, we're not gonna force like a forced stretch. I want you to like, so if you can wrap this up and, you know, obviously plug your stuff, but what do you you shared what's important to you, but what do you want to give people about addicts? What do you want to share to wrap it up?
Well,
if you don't have anything to wrap it up, it's fine.
It's so hard. What do I want to give people about addicts? Is that just what I want to give white people about Black people or Indigenous people, that we deserve a chance, you know, and we're not bad. We have, when we're recovering.
We have shirts coming out. Just be regular. Just be fucking chill. That's if you ask me what I want, just be fucking cool. You see how I am cool with you?
Right.
You know what I mean? See how like everybody else,
a chance,
like I'm just fucking talking to you, and you have an opportunity to fuck up, and I'm not gonna think you're the worst for fucking up.
Right.
I'm gonna give you grace. I think Black people held at such a standard. And we have these biases. That's weight that's put on us. I want that weight off. I don't want that weight on my son.
No.
I don't want that weight on you. I don't want that. And the thing for me and you, it's going to be on us. But what we do actively is going to change it for your children and my children. It's a long game.
Absolutely. It is a marathon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a minute.
Arming ourselves with information is revolutionary as well. My friend said that the first week. I was like, what do I do? He said, arming yourself with information, arming other people with information, and arming your children with information. That's a revolutionary act. I'm
reading this book. Have I told you about it? How to Be Black?
No.
By Baratunde Thurston. It's so good. It's like it's kind of a comedic relief book, and it doesn't teach you how to be Black, but like what it's the experience of someone who is Black, and it talks about like going above and beyond to just like prove why you should be sitting in the same room as everybody else, and like people looking at you like, oh my gosh, you speak so good, so well. Excuse me. And just all these experiences, how to be the Black friend in the workplace. Or we did talk about this a little bit, where it's like especially if you're open to talking about it, then all of a sudden you're the black friend.
Yeah.
Especially in the workplace, like all of our questions were coming to you. Is this okay? Someone makes a comment and it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Someone
looking
did
at
that
you.
to me yesterday, like my homeboy, who's not even white. He was like, Eric, what do you think of? I was like, yo, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Dude.
I know why you're doing this.
Oh, he's Eric, what do you think about fried chicken? Like, why do you think? I was like, fuck you. That's not what he said, but that's essentially what you said to me. You fuck. Like, get out of here, man. Just be
ridiculous.
That's back to the point. Just be fucking cool.
Yeah.
You see how I navigate white spaces where I'm just chilling with everybody and like giving everybody a chance.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
Right. We don't want your pity.
No victim shit.
No victims.
Free money. No.
Do not.
None of that. Just be cool. And that's where the healing comes in.
Yeah.
A lot of my white friends have asked me and colleagues have been like, what can I do? Check your heart.
Yeah. Heart and intentions.
Check your heart.
Yeah.
You know if you're holding me at a different standard. I didn't say this, but you know if you're holding people at a different standard.
Absolutely.
You know if you're walking down the block and judging somebody.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely. I saw this viral meme thing that was like, Venmo a black man $1 today. The disrespect.
Come on.
Like
that's a whole nother podcast. I talked about it yesterday as well. Spoke about it yesterday. Excuse me. The wokeness that we're about to experience, the excessive amount of wokeness, but it's going to be generally a good thing because we're getting more socially liberal. That means we're accepting more things. Now our white and white allies and non-black allies are like, this is unacceptable. That's what we need. We need everybody. We need everybody to say it. But there's gonna be like people like, how anti-racist are you?
Yeah.
There's gonna be that, which is gonna be gross for a while, But it's like vegan. It's like veganism. Like you got to tell everybody. Like it's gonna be in people.
We're just gonna push it down everybody's throat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But you know what? Yeah. Once that shit ends, now there's a vegan restaurant everywhere.
Right. And it's great. You have options.
Now there's vegan options. So look, it calmed down. I don't give a fuck that you're a vegan, but now look, everybody has a choice. So,
exactly.
So I'm hoping that it'll fucking settle. But like Jesse was talking about, it's culturally we're moving more and more left, but politically it's getting more conservative. It's the balance is interesting.
It is.
Yeah. All right, plug your shit, man.
All right. Well, my Instagram is at Gavenchy, GABVENCHYY. My Twitter, that doesn't matter. I kind of like that I have a small following on Twitter.
Good.
You can buy my book, I'll Get Better Someday, on Amazon, poetry book. Should have talked about that a little bit.
We don't have to end it right now. Talk about it.
Well, I wrote a poetry. Okay, so I started writing this like in the midst of my addiction, right? So it is literally my soul is opened up and poured out onto the pages. And it's dark. Like it is extremely dark. Like some of my family members won't read it because I was like, you're not gonna like it, I've had parents reach out to me and ask if I could write letters to their children who were struggling. So it's already served its purpose to me because I've been able to help a few kids and build some relationships where these kids are like, I look at you as a sister and I've never even met them. Yeah, right.
Yes, that's big.
And people be like, thank you, because I know for me, when I was struggling, like in those few months before I got sober again, I was like, does anyone get it? Does anyone understand like how much I feel like I'm dying on the inside? Yeah. And each day it gets darker and darker. And then I came across some people on Instagram that like were really cool artists, and like by their art, I was like, oh, they relate. You know what I mean? They understand the things that you don't have to say. So that's why I chose to release this, because I want someone that's struggling out there to know that you will get better, that things can get better.
We do.
It's a series. We do recover, right? So it's a series where it's like the before, the during, present, and then whatever. We'll see.
We will put the link. That's on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
We'll put the link in the description.
Thank you. Yeah.
Plug that.
It's dark. It talks about everything from like addiction to sexual assault, all of it. Like when I tell you my heart and soul, it's crazy. So there's that. And then I also have a clothing brand, Thick Threads.
There you go. Dope. So where can everybody find that stuff? So on your Instagram, do you have a link tree in there?
I do not have a link.
Okay, so Amazon.
I'll get on that. Yeah, Amazon. I mean, I have my website linked on my Instagram as well. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see all of that information.
We're gonna help you wrap all that together.
I really need to do that. I do have a linked tree. I just need to get it in there.
Thank you, Gabby. See, look how good we did.
Did we?
Yeah, it was dope. Just a conversation.
I feel like I was like,
No, you did great.
nervous.
You did great. So yeah, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you. Follow her and give this a listen. Peace.
Peace.
Vultures circling above, they all in a piece, but they don't even know my name. Won't get even the swipe for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport, gonna get right for the plane. Custom smell like kush, wifey hand in a tish. Yes, and they got no shame. Some line to shine, with a broke they got no game. Waking up next to a scat, can't go home to a dame. Nah, tell me sell to the same. Really though, who could it be?